Welcome to the Week 15 edition of the Shark Tank podcast. My name is Warren Sharp of SharpFootballAnalysis.com. Welcome in, guys. Only a few days until Christmas. Hope everybody's doing well out there, staying safe and healthy. We welcome back from Las Vegas the man who we speak to every week who does a lot of big things out in Vegas, Bill Krack15 Krackenberger. Good morning. How are you doing today?
Good morning. Good morning. Speaking to you from my car. Just getting out here and running around a little bit. Actually, there's a couple of little games, small opportunities around town. I'm gonna go bet. Yesterday was an interesting day. There was a film crew out here that was here for Spike TV boxing on Friday night. The producer who produces Friday Night Fights on ESPN, he also produces this fights. The fights for Premier Boxing Network, and he said he wanted to film me yesterday. He says, I want to just do a little bit on what you do. I'd like to see if a network executive at Spike, he really likes sports betting, I'd like to see what you do, maybe you can do something with it. Maybe we can do something with this. So, as you know, I have no real product to sell. I didn't even call you, Warren, to tell you I was filming this. So, he's from Long Island, New York, and he comes here yesterday with, and he spent about 3 hours with me. He had a sound guy and a video guy, and I was driving around town getting the Jets. I think I called you, right? Did I call you with the Jets? I don't know the Jets, but with Dallas today. Okay, so I was getting the Jets, Dallas plus 3.5. He's a Jets fan, so he bet the Jets. He bet the Jets where he was staying, minus 3.5, and he's not a square guy, but yet he is. Because I said to him, listen, there's threes at so many places, the William Hills, the Coast property. There was so many threes around town, Caesars, yet you laid 3.5. And I was just like, wow, three is the keyest number in the NFL. You should always make sure when you're playing around the three, if there's threes and 3.5, make sure you go to 3.5 or buy the 3.5. Or buy the 3 in your case, if there's a 3.5. But do it I explained to them how to go on a Vegas site for free and just look, and you can look at the lines everywhere, and especially look at the total, because if the total's low, the tendency to land on that 3 is even greater. So sure enough, the total yesterday was 41 on that game. It's one of the lowest totals of the week, and it landed, and it made for great TV. I said, well, whoever you're showing this to, after the game landed, I said, this is only because I went to a casino in town here. I had a couple casinos had plus 3.5, minus 15 at the time, and I even bet some more on it, and a casino in town here lets me buy it for 3.5. They were minus 3, minus a quarter, which they let me buy plus 3.5, minus 15 again, and it just shows you how important it is to buy on the 3, and it just shocks me how. Again, this is another prime time game. This is at least the 4th game I can think of. I did the radio show here in town, 7:20 a.m. a couple times, Ken Thompson show, and I went in Thursday night, and I know Pittsburgh was involved in 2 games this season. Both games landed on the number. I mean, and that means really you should not lose that game. At worst, you should push that game. The value of line shopping, the value of having multiple outs in Vegas, even though they are shrinking, is so important to get that right number. I know I'm like a broken record when it comes to this, but yet again, last night a game landed, a primetime game landed on the number 3. So.
No doubt that week 1 against the Patriots, I think there were some 6.5, then it went up to 7, 7.5, and I remember you saying after that, there's no way anybody should have lost on that game, because if you wanted
and
7.5.
Pittsburgh was involved in another game, the prime.
So what did that guy say? What did that producer?
He was embarrassed. He said, Billy, I've known you for years, and I know what you do, but I just didn't realize the value of 3, where you're saying that, about 15% of the games that are line 3 land 3, especially the ones that with lower totals. So the propensity for it to happen is so much more as the total goes down. So, I just to see that game land 3, it just made me like, wow. I just couldn't believe I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, that was awesome. Maybe that increased the odds of his likelihood of getting on that show, getting a show made.
It's just not really a show. It's more of a documentary to show about it. It really started out about fantasy football. That's what he wanted to, and then it went on to different things. The betting and fantasy, how it affects the sports betting world, and it brings more people into the sports betting world than when they come to Vegas. Which he could be right. There was an article that was done in the New York Post, or not the New York Post, the Times, and that's the reason why he that's how this all happened. But anyway.
Well, you know what's funny, just on that last point before you change the subject, everybody talks about the difference between gambling and sports betting and fantasy. Daily fantasy is not, and it's obviously ridiculous, but that kicker who missed the field goal, if you're gambling on the game, then that's affecting your outcome, and then it's just luck, the guy missed it, you're either lucky or unlucky. But then if you're actually playing that kicker in fantasy, and the guy misses it or not, that's not luck. It's not gambling. It's it's all skill based. They're the exact same thing. It all luck and factor and everything.
For sure. Not used to this happening, Warren. Last night I gave you a game that moved against me. I wake up this morning, I just seen it moved against us. Well, it moved against me. I bet 325 Miami +2. Being a wise guy, it was not available anywhere in town. Only one spot. I'm out there 11 o'clock last night going to get the 2. But I also did bet Carolina -3.5. I sent you that email.
Yep, that was a big one.
It's 5 today. But,
yeah.
I'm not used to waking up and seeing the game move the other way. So there's a couple games I bet today. Looking at the Pittsburgh game a little bit, I don't like that Pinnacle's -6.5, -03. That means they're literally the best place to bet. If you had every single option to bet everywhere on Earth, Pinnacle is the best line for you to bet at right now. But I'll see what that is more towards 1:25 p.m. when the game starts and make a decision there, because I was going to bet Pittsburgh small. Yesterday, Pinnacle was begging for bets on the Jets. Game time was -3, -05. Then that was like 10 minutes before the game. Right at game time, -3, -03. Not even close. They were the best line out there. And that tends to be a losing proposition. When you can bet Pinnacle Sports and you can lay the best line there, if your bet was – it just put an imaginary bet in your head. Of course, I don't have a Pinnacle account. You can't bet Pinnacle in the States. So just imagine that you were going to make your bet where you can bet it at. If Pinnacle's the best line, you can guarantee, brother, in the long run, you're on the wrong side of that game. So I told the producer that too. I explained to him about Pinnacle Sports. It's on the Don Best screen. It's on the sports options screen. And I explained to him if they're begging for a line like this, usually they're right. And I say usually 54%, 53.5%. It's not, but it gets there. You only need to beat 52.38% to be a successful sports bettor. So I showed him that before the game. It's another angle. It's the Pinnacle lean. It's an old system, really. It's almost a blind system. You can bet if Pinnacle needs that money. So they're not that they're the biggest sports book, but they're one of the biggest volume sports books in the world because they're reduced juice. So they take a large bet and they take it as fractions. It's more of a market trading place than a sports book even. So they're begging for a side. Normally, I want to be on you want to be on the other side of that long term. That's really it. I kind of missed the boat on a couple totals this week, but we did cash on the Jets under first half yesterday, and fine. I really didn't tell the guy that side. I'm watching the game because I went to a restaurant and it was on last night, and the guys I was with said, one guy I was with said, "Wow, you're lucky under 21 first half Jet game." And by the way, Warren, you gave me that, right?
Yeah. Yep.
No, I wanted to make sure where I got it from you. So I had under, and they said, "Oh man, you got really lucky." Well, I don't, I usually don't watch the games, but I don't consider myself lucky there. The score was like, I don't know.
I think it was 9-3 with about 2 minutes left in the half.
Right. So you know more than me. I mean, luck to me is the Green Bay Detroit game with a 60-yard bomb at the end of the game. That's more luck than, I got lucky I won last night. I just thought I was on the right side of that game last night. The total. But
yeah, exactly. If you're a strong, the way I always look at these things is, if you're a strong favorite to win that game throughout the course of that half, who's going to bet over 21 when the score is 9-3 with 2 minutes left in the half? You're going to think that that's going to hit under the vast majority of the time. So the fact that it almost went over, that would have been extremely lucky for the people who did bet the over there. Right. But, I definitely agree. And great point. I mean, this is one of the awesome reasons why we love talking to you each week. For all the guys out there who listen to us, all the clients every single week who are checking this podcast out, these are things that Krack is just teaching you about this Pinnacle Lean and about the juice that they're offering there. Because you guys can look at the screen, and if you don't even have a sports options account or account like that, you can go to my website, sharpfootballanalysis.com. I have lines up there, real-time lines from Pinnacle, Greek, Five Dimes, Chris, Bet Online, the Westgate, all of them side by side, and you can see exactly what Krack's telling you about. Look at what Pinnacle is compared to some of these other books, especially close to kickoff time. See how their juice might be on some of those games where the line might be the same. If they're looking for money on that side, that could be an indication you might want to double think if you're looking at laying that number. So those are great tidbits that last beyond just this week.
Every week I try to do something like that. And the producer of the boxing last night, he asked me, what's the purpose of doing this? Why would you want to do something like this and give out these things? And I really don't know. Maybe I'm an idiot. I could be, as far as trying to help people, because I have nothing to sell. I have no product to sell. I really could. I could be. I just, I don't know what it is. I have to reach deep down inside me, I guess, and go to get some psychology help or something, psychiatric help. I don't know why I help people for nothing. I'm just trying to, show them the value of three, show them how to line shop, show them the Pinnacle Lean. It's my helpful nature. It's the way you're cultivated, you're sculpted from your parental upbringing, and that's what my parents were. They were givers. They weren't takers, and so I'm just trying to help. And unfortunately, this business is so bad. There's so many people that hate that you have a public forum and a public voice, and they're so jealous of it. They sit from behind the safety of their telephones and the safety of their computers, and they judge you and say things. I personally don't look at anything. I'm not saying that. I don't read forums. I don't. But I used to write to the RX.com, and back in the year 2000, 2001, 2002. I got sick and tired of reading this stuff on there, because people just, no matter what you do, they're always going to be naysayers in any line of work in the world, never mind sports betting, the quote-unquote seedy world of sports betting. And the reason why it's even going to be more naysayers in this, because 90% of people that make bets, that's way wrong. 99% of the people that make bets are losers. So it's a misplaced rage they have to vent at other areas of their life, and of which is people that are successful, and they're so jealous, they're so missing, there's such a void in their life that they can't be successful, that they just want to rip other people. And it's funny, no one does that to my face. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm twice the size of most of them. But it's not really, not that I'm a physical guy. I have, like I always say, I have palm-olive hands. Anyway, I'm going off on a rant again. Sorry. We'll talk next week, Warren. How about that? Let's end it there.
We could do that, and I will tell you, obviously, we definitely appreciate all the information that you share with the clients each and every single week, coming on here and joining us. And you are one of the truly unique guys in the industry, one of the very best people that I've met doing this in my years of doing it, and I'm fortunate to have developed a relationship with you, and I'm glad that you're able to come on and share some of this information with the clients. And definitely a unique, good guy in the industry. I could definitely vouch for everything you just said. Tremendous guy. So really appreciate it. And Yeah, hope I'm sure we'll be speaking with you before Christmas, but safe travels, and we'll talk to you on this podcast next week.
All right, pal. Take care.
Okay.